Hi, welcome to the Kit Breakdown. Today we've got a very special guest, Jay Pearson, who is going to talk us through all of his kits that he's been collecting for over the years. He has a fantastic podcast show which is called Tops of the Cops. We cannot wait to get into this kind of Adidas special, to be perfectly honest. We've got loads to talk about. We've got Isak, a rat. Is he a rat or is he just a great guy trying to get his next step up into his career? Let's get that debate going. Then we're going to talk everything about Trefoils. Then we're going to go back through the archives. We've got everything to talk about. Welcome to the Kit Breakdown. So here we are. Jay, do you want to introduce yourself?
Certainly, mate. Yeah, I'm run a YouTube channel called Tops of the Cop. Doing quite well at the minute. Really enjoying it. And we've got some quite surprisingly good special guests quite early on.
I've seen that as well. Absolutely.
So it's going quite well, mate. Yeah, but obviously the kits is like a big passion for me, as you know. So I'm very grateful to be here, mate. So thanks for inviting me on.
No, it's fantastic. If we were going to review any Liverpool kits, you are the guy to talk to about it. Before we get into that, though, we've got to talk about the golden subject right here, right now. Isak, what you thinking?
I'll tell you what, mate, honestly, I'm bored of it now. It's doing me head in. It's gone on too long. But I think, before the end of the window, there obviously will be an outcome. And I'm more on the side of the fence that he will sign, given the fact that over the years that we've grown up with transfers, and you think when there's a big spat like there's going on at the minute, sadly, the player usually leaves. And it's rubbish for you guys, but I just wanted to get it over with now. But it'll be after we've played you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, it's certainly going to make for a really entertaining game when you come up to St James's Park, and I mean the atmosphere is going to be electric. I mean,
they're always good games anyway, aren't they? Between us.
I mean, all those 4-3s from back in the day. Yeah. But I think, I think it's fair to say I'll be speaking for most of the Geordie nation. I mean, no one's going to begrudge the guy a move, right?
Yeah.
But I think it's the way that he's gone about it. And to be perfectly honest, I think he owed us. He doesn't owe anything, I guess, but in my opinion, he owes us another season. The right way to have done that would have been to come in and say, right, guys, I want to go.
Yeah.
I'll give you another season. Let's get you to where we can get you to, but I want to move on. But I think the way that he's gone about it has just rubbed up the Geordie nation so badly. And I think what's been interesting with the whole thing was just, one, the timing of it, off the back of, just winning the Carabao Cup, which was 70 years in the making. We've had all of that. We were going into what we thought was going to be an absolutely amazing transfer window for us, elevating the club to a whole new level. And then this shitstorm happens. And frankly speaking, I just think it's just been, there's never a good time to do that. But I just think, nah, I'm not having it. It's been really poor show from Isak.
It has, mate. And we went through a similar situation with Suarez. And there was a time where he wanted to leave to go to Arsenal. And it was infamously when they bidded £40 million and £1 for him. And obviously it was rejected. And it was a case of, right, well, give us one more year and, then you can go. And he ended up having the best season of his life and got his dream move to Barcelona. So I totally understand what you're going through. And I think it wouldn't be as massive deal if he wasn't so good at footy, if the price wasn't so high as well. And also the sad thing as well, not bringing in a replacement. I think it would make you all feel better if that replacement would be in the club. But on the flip side to it, losing a player like that, it's heartbreaking. It really is. I mean, we went through it together with Andy Carroll, didn't we?
Well, I was just about to say that was an interesting one, and I kind of hope it kind of goes the same way, really.
I don't.
I remember you came up to St James's Park, and I think Dalglish had him on from the start, which, if you talk to Andy Carroll, he didn't want that move in the first place. Didn't. And to be honest, timing of that was really poor as well. It was almost like Liverpool had to make a marquee signing, signed the kid. He wasn't ready for it.
Yeah.
He's gone down with such huge expectations. And then the reality is we came to St James's, he was substituted at half time, I think it was.
It was a shame that, and I felt sorry for him because you'd obviously come up. Andy Carroll had, blitzed the league by that point. At that point between that January transfer window, he was top scorer in the league.
Yeah.
everyone knew we'd had 50 million in the bank because we'd lost Torres at the last minute of the window.
Yeah.
So everyone knew we had money. You buy in arguably the best English striker in the league at that point.
Yeah.
Because he was. So the English tax goes on there as well. So that's where I think it's really unfair with the fee was put on him. And in the same window, you're getting a little player called Suarez who, you know, was like, bloody hell, we're getting both of these, and you think great, and it just didn't work out. And again, I did feel sorry for Andy Carroll because
it was
a bad move.
I think the lad was an absolute servant for Newcastle, but you know the reality was that almost wrecked his career. That move,
did.
You know,
yeah.
And I feel really sorry for the kid. I mean, he still had an amazing career in the grand scheme of things, but compared to what we thought it could have been, it just didn't work out for him. And I wouldn't wish that on Isak. I genuinely do wish the lad has a successful career. I just think as he's gone about it, it's just been really poor. And I think on top of that, the fact that we've missed out on so many signings, that hasn't really helped either. And
sorry about that. With that cliche.
Yeah, I mean, look, it is what it is. I mean, we just haven't been striking as quickly as we would have liked to. And we're all thinking, right, we're the richest club, we're going to go out, we're going to get everybody. Then we've been losing, you know, with CEOs and all that sort of stuff. So there's all these things that are going on. And as fans, we're just like, God, you know, we thought we had finally the breakthrough. But all this stuff about PSR and everything else, I mean, that is just a joke. I'm really sorry, but I'd like to just stand on my soapbox for 5 seconds and just someone explain that to me, because it's not about the rules that they've put in place, because the rules are fundamentally not right. If I'm a business owner, I'm going to speculate to accumulate.
Of course.
I am going to basically take something on and I'm going to invest a ton of money so that I can grow that business. So if that's the case, why are we all being restricted from doing that? There's no way we're going to attract players, sponsorship, whatever it is, unless we spend some cash. And that's what it's all about for me. And I think whoever's come up with those rules, it's clearly to protect the top six. And it's just ridiculous. It's like the turnstiles have closed, so all the teams that are in the ground are all fine, but anybody else who isn't, they're completely screwed. So it doesn't matter how much money you've got anymore. It's just all about these rules, and they're fundamentally completely broken. And it is just so frustrating, because if anything, by having more teams who've got more money to spend and getting it out there and getting more competition to the league, it's only going to make
it better. Absolutely. I completely agree. And you've got to put the restraint in somewhere. And you go back to sort of 2003 when Chelsea sort of got this sort of Moneyball thing rolling, if you like, and then
Man City straight after.
Yeah, and it's not helped in that way. The one thing I can say for Liverpool, for my club, is the fact that we don't spend big every window, and that's the reason why we don't do it, because we keep in line with these rules, and we are a very, very well-run club. Much to a lot of people over the years have had comments and questions about our owners. Now you're seeing the fruition of what we do.
Yeah.
And we buy smart, and we buy players at the right time. And if we've got to invest, we invest, like Verts, and obviously going after Isak as well. So the rules are in place for a reason. But I do agree with you. As a business owner, you speculate to accumulate, and you should be allowed. But again, there's so many question marks around Man City at the minute, and we're still waiting for that result, aren't we? It's just outrageous. That doesn't help Newcastle.
No, and it is. It's absolutely outrageous. I mean, and that's the other thing. It's like Everton, Forest, even Villa this month have been fined for various different things.
It's a joke.
So they're all getting fined, yet Man City's still sat there and they're not getting touched. It's absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Absolutely insane. But the thing is, right, we're not here just to talk about Isak and everything else. We are here to talk about kits. So tune in for this next bit.
If you like what you've seen so far on the kit breakdown and you want to learn even more about what goes into designing football kits, then head over to sparkdesignacademy.com today and sign up for our course, 7 Steps to Designing Like a Pro. In that course, you will learn everything from research through to the presentation of football kits to professional brands and clubs. And you can follow in the footsteps of not just me and Craig, but some of our previous graduates who have designed for national teams, clubs, and we've even got people at some of the biggest brands around the world. So if you like the sound of that, you want to be a part of the sportswear and football kit design industry, sparkdesignacademy.com is the place to go.
Not only that, Rob, but you can also learn how to build fantastic presentations with our presentation skills course. So it's one thing being able to design something, but if you don't have the right presentation to put it out there, it's not going to fly. So head over there now, sign up to sparkdesignacademy.com. What you're waiting for? Get your career on track right now. So Jay, we're going to get into the home and the away kit for Liverpool. We've got a couple of replicas. We're going to talk about a fakie a little bit later. We've got a long sleeve, got a short sleeve, we've got replica, we've got obviously home and away. But before we crack on with that, how's the channel going? You doing all right with it?
Yeah, I'm really enjoying it, mate. It was an idea I've been sat on for years. Where you know, it's very hard to find something unique in the YouTube space these days, especially when it comes to around your football club.
Yeah.
You know, with me going the game, I don't want to be talking about the game on a podcast or anything like that. But my big passion is kits, and obviously with them being non-time stamped, you can talk and go through the retro vibes of it all. So I wanted to start something that was. And I got very lucky with the guests I've had. You know, we've had Patrick Berger, Jason McAteer, Jamie Carragher, Robbie Fowler on already, talking about their top 5 shirts. And it's been really good to go through that nostalgia.
Yeah.
And it's shown that there is a market for that. And a lot of the fans that we're getting comments for of saying this is the type of stuff that you don't see.
Yeah.
And the best thing about it is the lads have all said at the end of it how much they enjoyed it, because it was something different. It wasn't just going, so tell me about your career. Do that. You know, it's bringing up the memories of what they like and what they don't like and stuff. And then there's another series on there called Fake Spotting, where, you know, as you know, mate, you know, retro's so popular now in terms of people wanting to buy on eBay, wanting to buy on Vinted, and they're collecting. But some people don't have the eyes that we have to spot what's real and what's not online, and they're getting ripped off.
I mean, even some of the kits that I've bought over the years, you know, I'm in the industry. I've been even designed some of these stuff, and I've been caught out. But can I ask you, if there was one player that you could interview, who would the one person be that you might not have got to yet?
So if we'd have said this before it started, it would have been Patrick Berger and Robbie Fowler.
Right. Okay.
But now it's Steven Gerrard.
Ah, right. Okay.
Because he wore 36, 37 shirts for Liverpool. He's just 1 or 2 behind Jamie Carragher. He's got the record of the amount of different shirts he wore for Liverpool.
Come on, Stevie, get in touch with him. You know, it's worth it.
Stevie would be, you know, he'd be up there.
Let's see if we can get that to happen for you. Well, brilliant. So let's get into it. Let's have a look at the home shirt. So what are you thinking? What have you made of it so far?
I absolutely love it. I think the excitement of having Adidas back was a big plus, and I think they could have brought. There's a part of the fan base that could have brought anything, anything ugly.
I think
and everyone would have loved it.
Both our teams, right?
Absolutely synonymous,
absolutely unbelievable. Adidas are killing it at the minute.
They really are, and I was absolutely made up when obviously you see the rumours of, you know, months in advance of what these are going to look like, and straight away I loved it because it looked like the 2006 2008 shirts. That straight away, because of this piping that comes down. So I was really pleased with it, because you don't want, for the first go you return as a manufacturer, you don't want to mess around with it too much. Try and keep it as simple as you can. Now, whatever is going to happen is we're going to be most excited about the 3 stripes. So what they do here, this was always going to be the focal point for me personally. But straight away, I love it. I think the piping is incredible, like I said. And I just think it's so simple and it just works. And like I said, it does remind me of this. And I think that's the vibe that they were going for, because this was a good era for Liverpool in terms of the entertaining football, you know, Torres, Gerrard partnership. And I just think that Adidas have nailed it for the first instance.
It's interesting, because they've definitely taken the piping detail on the 3 stripes down the shoulder and the arm, obviously. But they've completely, you know,
night and day in a way, aren't they?
Changed changed the colour, they've changed the neckline. The technology has obviously moved on significantly. But it's interesting.
I was really impressed with it straight away. And one of the things that I did like about this as well is with the collar here. I mean, I don't know if you remember, but when this came out in 06, 07, Chelsea.
Sadly, I can't remember.
Chelsea had the exact same one, obviously in blue, but Chelsea didn't have a collar on. And I really liked that. And Craig Bellamy used to fold his collar in when he played for Liverpool. So he'd lose the collar with that. And when this was out, I was really made up. There was no sort of collar on it. Don't get me, I don't mind that. But the fact that I didn't have that colour with that design, it was like, waited 20 odd years for that. That's brilliant.
I mean, if I look at this from a pure kind of geeky, technically standpoint, you know, there's a lot going on this kit. They've got probably 3 or 4 different fabrications. Let me just work that out. They've got 1, 2. Yeah, I would say there's at least 3 fabrics. Maybe if you include the collars, there's 4 fabrics in there. So this is not going to be a cheap shirt to produce for the athletes. They've got a jacquard through the front, which we call body mapping. That's when you basically take a piece of fabric and you actually place where you want all the mesh to be. And that's been executed really nicely. The neckline itself, I think, is really smart. They've done like a rib collar, but it's actually got a mesh detail running through it, which is really, really nice. And then obviously the 3 stripes going down the long sleeve, you know, is all printed on there, and it's got like a little gel print kind of detail going through it. But what I thought was really interesting was if I look at the short sleeve, they've actually mimicked the same neckline on the collar that goes into the cuff.
Right.
And I think that's a really, really lovely detail. However, on the long sleeve, because you've got that little bit of extra fabric going down the arm, I can't help but thinking that they've just gone with a little bit more of a cheaper, more price-driven rib cuff to the long sleeve, which for me is just that little bit disappointing. But I'm nitpicking big time here.
But I mean, it's a good point you make, though. So, in your opinion, why do you think they've done that?
I think it's price.
Yeah.
Price, yeah, for sure. Because I think with that little bit of extra fabric to put something like this on, which frankly speaking is really weak, there's not much recovery on that at all. So once that's worn, any player, or sorry, any fan, should I say, that's probably going to wear this a lot more than the players will. You know, that's going to be a dog's ear after, you know, a bit of washing and so on and so forth. But yeah, by and large, I think the kit's fantastic. I think what they've done with the Liverbird is unbelievable. It's so nice.
It is really, really nice. I mean, you sort of like when you look at, you know, Nike did some very, very good shirts for Liverpool.
They did, and they did some really nice applications of their crest as well. So, but it's nice that they've gone on with that. But if we get into the replica version of this, which I think is an interesting conversation again.
Yeah.
Because obviously we're always talking about, you know, if you take a replica shirt and you take the on-field performance shirts, what's the big differences? And again, over the years, we've been fairly critical of how they take that down. And again, I can't help but thinking, you know, yes, from 100 paces, it does look like the on-field kit, but it's a real step down.
You can tell, yeah.
You know, if I look at the neckline's not been completely copied. You know, it's a rib detail that goes right the way around, and this is probably where they're getting the rib detail for, you know, from the long sleeved.
Right, I see.
And where they've put this little binding over the top, that's to represent where you've got this detail here. So yeah, I think the replica, the fabric's not as good, although I do believe that this fabric is better for someone who's going to be washing it on a regular basis. I think it's probably going to last a little bit longer. You've also got the Liverbird now, which is embroidered, it kind of harks back to the Pro kit.
Yeah, it does in a way, doesn't it? But again, like you said, when you put them next to each other, it's night and day again, isn't it?
I just think for me, if I was going to spend my money on anything, it would be the Pro kits all day long.
Yeah.
I just think you're getting better value for money. They're nicer fabrics, they're nicer finishes. But I can understand why people go for the replicas, because it's going to be a little bit more durable. It's definitely going to last longer.
Yeah.
Especially when you see the 3 stripes there all stitched on. But I think by and large, as a home kit, that's not bad for you guys. I think it's great. And I think, as we talked about earlier, Adidas are absolutely killing it for both of our teams at the moment.
Absolutely.
So it's great.
It is great. And I think when you spoke on the show last year, when Liverpool had released their Nike kit for winning the league title, I mean, you look at that and it was horrendous. I mean, you talk about, we said at the beginning of this piece, didn't we, about you nail it. You want to be as simple as you can with the home shirt.
Yeah.
They went absolutely bananas with that, and now that kit will be iconic for the rest of eternity.
Well, of course it will, yeah. Of course
but it's just crazy how you can go night and day. And I always look at a shirt and I go, oh, if I can see us lifting a trophy in that, the memories of that would be incredible.
Yeah.
So, for example, we spoke about this one earlier. Now, we lost a Champions League final in this.
Yeah.
And if we're going to talk about Champions League, we might as well just be aesthetically and we'll just put the patches on. There we go. So we lost the Champions League final in this. And I would never swap anything that happened in Istanbul, because everything in Istanbul was absolutely fantastic. Perfect way to enjoy a final, if you want to put it as stupidly as that. But I would never change the result. But what I would change is the kit, because in Athens 2 years later we lost in this. Now I just think this would be more aesthetically pleasing than the Reebok one we had winning in Istanbul.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So when I look at this shirt and I think, oh, if we can win a big trophy in this, it'll look stunning.
Yeah.
And I think that should go into a lot of the designs as well. You know, if you look at the Newcastle episode you did a few weeks ago, there was a conversation about having kits for 2 years, and you made a fantastic point where if you're losing that kit and then you've got it again the following year, it's like I want to get rid of it. I don't want to wear it again, So it makes a good point. But you are right. They've done very well, Adidas, for the first goal.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you want to learn from two industry pros, get yourself over Spark Design Academy and we'll teach you how to design exactly like that. We'll take you through all the different steps that you've got to go through to design innovational product and create visuals that will excite consumers all over the world. We've done it, and you can too. Sign up to Spark Design Academy right now. Don't delay. Get into it. Come on, guys. You can do it. We want to see the next big designer come through Spark Design Academy. And who knows, you might be designing for Nike, Adidas, Puma, and all the big boys out there. Don't delay. Sign up now.
So welcome back. We're now going to do Jay Away. Here we go.
Well, I mean,
you've got to love this.
I absolutely do. For months and months, the rumoured kit was going to be white. And that was coming out for a long time, that it was going to be white with a red piping, and everyone was convinced that the away shirt was going to be white. Little did they know that Adidas had something up their sleeve.
Adidas.
Yeah.
Definitely Adidas.
Yeah. They had something up their sleeves, and they brought out another Ecru shirt, which, as you know, for me, absolutely buzzing. And I just think, again, this colour scheme works so well. We waited so long for this shirt to make a reappearance, and Nike, again, did a very, very good job of reproducing this colour in 2021. And I thought, well, we're not going to see that colour again for a long time because it's just been done. But it is so popular with our fan base because of this template, because of what Reebok did in 1996. This became iconic for the 90s because it wasn't just something you can wear, on a Saturday to match. It's something you can wear on a Tuesday night in the pub with your jeans and trainers.
Yeah.
And it reset that trend.
Yeah.
For this to come back again, white is a great colour, but there's lots of perils that come with white as a consumer. So for this to come out again as an Ecru, again, it's pretty much universally loved by the fan base. This colour is Liverpool.
Yeah.
And I was obviously buzzing when I found out that it was back.
Yeah, so Jay, I've got to be honest with you. I'm loving the colour. I'm loving the look of this. But I've got to say, as much as I love it, I think they've hit the post in one area.
I know what you're going to say.
And to be fair, they've done it with one of the kits for Newcastle as well. As much as we're harking back to these eras where we've obviously got we're crest within a shield, Newcastle have done the same. They've done the same with Man United. I'm just not a big fan. And I think if that was just a red liver bird on there.
Completely agree.
Yeah. So for me, that's where they've hit the post. But what I do like about the kit is they've obviously continued a lot of the fabrications going through. So they obviously believe in this fabrication from an Adidas perspective. So they're obviously looking at this as the optimum performance for their players. But what's really nice around this, and when you actually get this in your hand, you'll see that there's a really nice little knitted detail on the ends of the cuff, which is really smart, and they've managed to take that through into the neckline as well. It's just those tiny little details that kind of set this apart. But I really do quite like this kit. I think it's a nice move on from the kind of one from back in the 90s. I think it's a really nice move on. Yeah, I'm loving it.
I one of my favorite things about it is obviously the color as we go, but when you mentioned about the collar and the cuffs as well, we actually did this in 97, 98. Do you remember the yellow one with the red badge?
Yeah.
And a lot of people from that era will remember the Harry Enfield advert, which was brilliant.
With the hair. Yeah, brilliant.
So we did this on the 97, 98 one, and I loved it. And it was red and black, and it was sort of like a rainbow effect, and it was stunning. So to see this little bit back, I was really impressed with it. But again, the execution of it is really good, because we've got, there's a nice balance with the red. Obviously they stayed away from the black sponsor this time, which is obviously
which I think is great, personally speaking, because that's the one thing that put me off about that, if I'm really honest.
Well, they wanted that to be navy blue originally, Reebok.
Right. Okay.
They wanted navy on the Carlsberg, and they wanted navy here, because this whole shirt was inspired by Bjorn Borg. So Fila were making Bjorn's tennis gear, and it was ecru, and it had navy in it. So they wanted to bring that into it, but obviously back then it was sort of like you can't have blue anywhere in the kits for obviously the Everton connections. So whether it was navy or not, it just didn't exist. So they had to do black. Still executes. I think it's still really good with the black, and that's what the conversation was with this as well. What fans are complaining about with this shirt is that a lot of them are saying like it looks too much like a Man United shirt because of the red and black. Now I do understand that. I completely get where they're coming from on that, because I can see it myself, but I don't see that, because I see the black in this, and that's if people aren't, I mean, people know how obsessed I am with this. But
very obsessed.
But I just think it works. It works really, really well.
I do, and I think what's interesting though is like where Adidas have taken the color as well, because if I look at the two colors side by side, there's a lot more yellow in the original ecru, where this is like a modern take on it. So I think maybe if they stayed a little bit closer to the original ecru, then maybe some of those Man United comments might have been a little bit more subdued, if you like.
Yeah.
But you've also got that in your home kit, where the red's a lot darker than the original red that was used in the 90s. But I think again overall, and if the rumours are correct about your third kit, I think it looks absolutely stunning.
It's a good lineup. And you look at Adidas's second encounter with Liverpool, when the 06-07 lineup, when you had what was shown before, you had the yellow away shirt as well, and you had the white third kit as well. That lineup was absolutely stunning, and it was one of the biggest selling lineups we've ever had. I think this can match that, but that third kit will be, for me, probably the most popular, because, like you said, the rumours, it looks amazing. Trefoil, 90s badge, it hits every button.
Yeah.
And I think I've seen 3 different versions of the green floating around. I think the lighter part is going to be the one, but I still think that'll look stunning. So, I can't wait for that to come out.
Yeah, well, maybe we can get back together again and we can review that one as well. But what I do want to talk to you about next is Trefoil.
If you like what you've seen so far on the kit breakdown and you want to learn even more about what goes into designing football kits, then head over to sparkdesignacademy.com today and sign up for our course, 7 Steps to Designing Like a Pro. In that course, you will learn everything from research through to the presentation of football kits to professional brands and clubs. And you can follow in the footsteps of not just me and Craig, but some of our previous graduates who have designed for national teams, clubs, and we've even got people at some of the biggest brands around the world. So if you like the sound of that, you want to be a part of the sportswear and football kit design industry, sparkdesignacademy.com is the place to go.
So welcome back. We are now going to talk everything Trefoil, Adidas, retro kits, and so on and so forth. But this time we're going to mix it up a little bit. So it's not just going to be about Liverpool. It's just going to be about Trefoil in general. I think what we can say is Adidas bringing back the Trefoil has got the whole world really excited about what they can and can't do with that particular logo. for most of the teams that have been sponsored by Adidas from back in the day, it's an opportunity to bring back those kits, whether it's Man United, Liverpool, Real Madrid, you know, all of those teams, even Newcastle to some extent. As much as we didn't use a Trefoil back in the day, we certainly are going to take the advantage of it and make sure that it goes on some of the kits that go forward. So one of the things I did want to talk about, Jay, was the Trefoil. I think it's been absolutely amazing. It's a huge opportunity for both of our great teams, not only just ours, but Man United and all the other teams from around the world. We've seen it being leaked in last season. It looks absolutely amazing. The community's going wild for it. But from a Newcastle perspective, we didn't actually have that at all on offer for when we were with Adidas. I think this was kind of the closest thing we got to it. But it is great how they've kind of reintroduced it and put like kind of modern kits, really, but vintage modern kits. Cass's Dead wore this in the video, the launch video, which actually has gone down as one of the best kits. This was actually the kit that I wore down to the cup final, which we won. Did anyone know that? 70 years in the making. But, you know, it looks like it's a retro kit. It looks like something that we would have worn. And some of the fans were crying out for this to be one of our actual kits, which they've done a great job of. And it just shows just what Adidas bring to the table, because what is brilliant about everything we're going to talk about is obviously we've got on field, but all the retro stuff that goes around with that. We've seen that in the German one. This is obviously the Germany's last season with Adidas, which is mental. It's so hard to even contemplate that Germany's going to go away from Adidas, but you know, they brought the 125 year back, and it's a great looking top again. As you were saying earlier in one of our episodes, that a lot of the stuff now is just great to be worn with jeans and so on and so forth, but the Adidas are doing it everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, if I look at some of the modern stuff that they've done with equipment, you know, some of these training things, which I've got to say, thanks to Jerry at Subside Sports for providing us with all of this amazing equipment. You know, they're just doing such a good job. You know, this is such a nice lifestyle piece.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
It's executed really, really well, this.
Yeah, really nice. But, you know, if we go back, as a fan of Liverpool and a fan that had the Trefoil on a lot of the kits, what are you looking forward to most to see what Adidas is going to bring back?
Oh, just all the retro shirts again, because there's an entire new generation that, you know, didn't have this. You know, they didn't have these types of shirts. You know, they've never, you know, some people can't afford them because of how expensive these are again. So if Adidas can bring back these, there's a new generation that can have these as well. Now, we've seen the club do these types of shirts over the years, but obviously they don't have the branding on, they don't have the 3 stripes, and they're all well and good, but they just, for me as an OCD kit collector,
they're not quite
they're not the
it.
same, are they? So that's what I'm excited for, is the fact that there's a new generation that's going to be able to wear stuff like this.
Robbie Fowler all day long, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And you know, Robbie said in his interview with me, I'm plugging there, is
that's all right,
that this is one of his favourites.
Yeah.
But when we mentioned the cup final, he goes, I don't know what you're talking about, you know, because obviously that's what it's synonymous with. Yeah. And it's that synonymous that the club actually brought out a 1996 FA Cup final range about 18 months ago. We lost that cup final, but the training gear and everything was fantastic. Now, if the rumours are true, Adidas are going to bring back this with all the 1995 training range, which if it does, wow. Yeah. Because that was one of the most popular training ranges we ever had. So it's that sort of stuff that I am excited for, because this is just so iconic as a logo. And
no, absolutely.
you know, if that was on that, it'd be stunning as well, you know. But to have the Trefoil logo come back, and like you said before, not just on our shirts, I mean, Man United, they've just brought out the black kit from 1995. And if I have to be put under pressure and say which is my favourite Man United kit, I would have to say it was that one. Yeah. Eric Cantona, Sharp, Paul Ince, the black one. It's stunning. So the fact that they brought that back, they've nailed it.
Yeah.
Really,
they absolutely have. And I mean, you know, from a Newcastle perspective, you know, we have been lucky enough to get some of our kits brought back. So they've brought back this one, they've brought back the matching one to this, you know, they've even got the sponsorships right. They're just doing such a good job.
And we're talking about the 90s. You know, there's a whole Torres and Gerrard era of kids that grew up idolising those two like we did as adults. But those kits can come back as well in a different manner, you know, and that's why it's so exciting, because Liverpool, not just as a club, as a city, is synonymous with Adidas. And this is what's so exciting. And one of the best parts about this is that our partnership's going to be 10 years.
Yeah.
Which is unbelievable. So
have you remortgaged the house yet, or how are you going to pay for all this?
We're in the process of it.
Right,
yeah, the wife was not happy that I did the paperwork behind her back, but you know, she understands that I have a disease.
Yeah, well, I think there are a lot of fans out there who have got a lot of decisions to make, because Adidas are absolutely killing it. But I've got to shout out, you know, there's loads of brands that are killing it at the minute. If I look at Hummel, if I look at Macron, if I look at some of the work that Nike have done, you know, what I think is amazing is everybody's kind of stepped up their game. So as kit collectors, the kits are becoming unbelievably detailed, unbelievably good. And it's great for the sport, it's great for the athletes, and it's great for us as collectors, albeit, you know, we're not going to have any money left to spend on stuff. But so
one of the things that could be quite positive about bringing these back is it might bring the prices down of the classic retros.
Yeah.
Because if they are going to be identical,
it
would be interesting to see when, because I mean, I can ask you this question now. I know we haven't planned that part of the episode, but when Newcastle brought back the 96 home, the Alan Shearer one, could you tell the difference between the original and without the trained eye? Do you reckon someone could?
No. So I think the reality is, when I basically pick up a fake, or, you know, and don't get me wrong, sometimes I've been caught out with stuff, so it's not always the case, but 9 times out of 10 I can tell the difference. And that's not because, you know, I'm a superhero or anything stupid like that. It's just simply because the technology's moved on, and the machines have moved on, so the fabrics don't quite feel the same, or they may not have been able to get the same, you know, like finish on the actual, because on all of these, what people might not realize, in the one that I'm wearing, there's actually like a herringbone through it. So unless you can find that exact same machinery again, or mimic that, it's not going to be exactly the same.
I'm so glad you've mentioned that, because one of the episodes of Fake Spotting on my channel I did on this shirt, and that was one of the details that I picked out, was the fact that the fake version of this can be quite deceiving. And one of the main things I point out, I put the collar of this next to the fake one, and that's the main detail. Because like you said, technology moves on. Same with the stitching as well. You've got the bridge between the A and the D, and the I and the D. Whereas modern, you wouldn't have that bridge. Between.
Exactly. So, I mean, but the thing is, I think when you get the OGs, you know, they're always going to hold a value. They're never going to disappear. So I think them bringing it back, as you say, just exposes fans to be able to buy more of the kits that they love without having to spend 150, 200 quid on kits. But I just think it's a great opportunity for Adidas to bring back a lot of the stuff that we love.
There's rumours of an Adidas Tango at Liverpool football. And
which would
stuff
be
like
amazing.
that is just incredible, because this, you know, loads of people are going to wear that. The jacquard's stunning with it in there as well. And this reminds me of all the 90s Adidas training tops.
That's right.
There's a Liverpool grey and black training top, which the players wore a handful of times. That's worth over £150 now, because it's got that trefoil detail, and it's just full of trefoil. Like you said, the possibilities are endless. And with polo shirts, I mean, I love this. When we went to the press event for the kit launch, I saw the senior vice president of merchandise wearing this, and we were chatting to him. I was like, I need to pick that up as well. I didn't know they were doing this. It's little things like this.
So when are you going to give him it back?
Never. He's still walking around without the shirt on.
Brilliant. Well, listen, it's been absolutely fantastic talking through everything Liverpool, everything Adidas, all the rest of it. It's been great. But there is one more last subject that I want to talk to you about. Well, two really, because I think as much as we're looking back, I think what's really interesting, and when I encourage designers that we work with at Spark Design Academy, one of the things that we talk about is the kits for the future. You know, and if I think of what, you know, Juve have done over the last few years. You know, they've really pushed the boat out, and Adidas have been a massive player in that. You know, change of logo. They're always pushing things with like the stuff they did with Human Made and Pharrell, all that stuff. And I really like that aspect where they're pushing it forward. You know, they did a collaboration with Palace, which I thought was absolutely superb. What's your take on, yes, it's all good looking back, but don't you think we should have like the next generation, the next kits? You know, what's your take on that?
I completely agree with you. I never, you know, if you asked me years ago, I never would have agreed with that. But I do now, because we need something in 30 years to go, well, what can we recreate from back in the day?
Yeah.
You know, Liverpool, when they were, you know, sort of like 2 results away from the quadruple, that kit that year was a little bit crazy from Nike.
Yeah.
But it's become a bit of a classic because we won 2 trophies in it and we had a really, really good season.
Yeah.
So people were complaining about that shirt at the time because it was like, oh, that's too crazy. And there's a bit of orange in it. What's all that about? But again, you've got to push the mold out, because in 20, 30 years, there'll be something that will be made in honor of that shirt.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Adidas have been very clever, just keeping it simple with the home shirt and harking back to, you know, the previous generation. But at some point, you're going to have to go, you know, against the grain.
Yeah,
we look
definitely
at what Nike did last season with Liverpool. I hated the home shirt straight away. I saw it, I was like, never going to wear that ever. It was horrendous.
Yeah.
But guess what? It's become an iconic home shirt.
Yeah, of course it does. Of course it does.
In 15, 20, 25, 30 years, that shirt from last season will be made by whoever our manufacturer is in 30 years.
No, absolutely.
So you've got to push the boat out. You really have. I think there's pushing the boat out too far, like Nike did last year with Liverpool's home. You can mess around with the away kits and the third ones. I think that's what they're for.
Yeah.
Really push the boat out for that. You try and keep it as simple as you can with the home shirt, keep it classic. But there's always that one time you can be a bit crazy.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And I think that's what's really important. And it's funny because I know that you're a massive fan of the original Ecru shirt, but when that first came out, I was never a big fan of it.
Right.
And as you say, it became a bit of a cult classic. But even the one that I'm wearing, it wasn't an instant classic in Newcastle. You know, there was a lot of people thinking, well, it's like a rugby shirt. You know, so a lot of people were doubting it. But as you say, once you get like the entertainers in it and Janola's banging goals in and Albert and all that sort of stuff, it suddenly then turns into a classic, you know?
It does, mate. And it's all about the memories, isn't it? It's whatever memories you make. You know, people look at that. So if I show you that, who do you think of straight away?
It's got to be Jamie Redknapp, actually.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. And if I'm looking at that one, it's fucking Stan Collymore.
The 4-3.
Yeah. But yeah.
But you're right, though, because at some point, crazy kits will be someone's perfect memory.
Yeah, yeah.
And it might not be to everyone's taste.
That's true.
From a Liverpool's fan perspective, again, if I have to force to pick my favourite Newcastle away shirt, it's that one.
Yeah, no.
Because I'm the same, grew up in that era, and that is classic. So when Newcastle brought that back, was it last season or the season before?
They kind of did a version of it last season, but it's been brought back a couple of times. Puma did a good job of it as well.
Scheme. Yeah. That's Newcastle. That screams Newcastle to me.
So welcome back, guys. Now we're going to talk about my favourite subject, fakies, or maybe they shouldn't exist. What do you think? I don't know. Jay, what do you think?
I'm 50-50 with it.
Right.
And the reason why I'm 50-50, maybe I'm more 60-40, but...
In favour or against?
Against.
Right.
And the reason why is because I'm all about buying classic. I'm all about buying the real thing because it's where your money's going to be spent. However, I understand the world we live in. And I do this in my fake spotting videos when I'm teaching people what to look out for in the fakes. I always interrupt the episode with, this isn't me telling you shouldn't buy a fake shirt. People can do whatever they want. We live in a world now where money's tight for everybody. Not everyone can afford £100 per shirt. Like we said before, for kids, if you've got 3 kids, they all want the shirt. They change it every year. It's a bloody fortune.
Yeah.
So I understand where people are coming from. So if that's up to them, that's fine. That's how they want to support the team. I just think you're supporting and funding activity that shouldn't be happening.
Absolutely.
And that's where, in the grand scheme of things, it is affecting the world in a different manner. Yeah. So that's where, I know it sounds bad saying 50-50, 60-40. I understand. I've got friends that will only buy these ones because of those reasons. And, you know, you've got to look after number one at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
You get one chance at life.
100%.
And all that sort of stuff. But you know.
Well, I think the challenge is when we've talked about this in the past, and you know we've had experts on that have told us the facts behind all of this, and there is a lot of criminal activity that gets funded by us buying fakes. But then I would call it out to the brands and say, well, one of the big issues we've got is the release of too many kits. You know, if you think of what we've just been talking about and the amount of product that's going to be available from all of the brands, it is absolutely insane.
Yeah.
You know, and I know I've made the point in the past that if you fail in a particular shirt, you know, if I go back to the Invincibles with Arsenal, you know, that's a perfect case in point. You know, they would never have had that home kit gone at Invincible. It would have been split between two kits.
Yeah.
So, you know, in my mind, I think we absolutely should go back to the kits going to two seasons, and then I would alternate it. So, you know, you'd always get something new every season. And especially when you're bringing things back like the Trefoil, the third, the fourth, the fifth kits, all of that sort of stuff, the training gear. There's so much to go after.
Yeah.
So in my opinion, it's not just the customer that's buying these that's at fault. It really isn't. And it's not just the criminal organizations. Yes, they shouldn't be doing it. But the amount that's being flooded into now is a response because there's a demand for it, because they just can't simply afford to do it.
Yeah.
You know, so,
I mean, people can, every year there's always the same complaint. How much is it? You know, that's a bloody fortune. And it's right. You look back to, if we spoke to our parents and said at the time, you know, it's £40 for the shirt, they'd be like, no, because of inflation, it's relatively the same price.
Yeah.
And you know better than anybody, the amount, it doesn't cost the earth to make, but you've got so much distribution to go through. You've got to speak to people at the factory. You guys have got to get paid who design it. So it does all add up.
Yeah, of course it does. And people don't think about the marketing aspect, how much it costs for Adidas to put this onto the back of Liverpool and Newcastle and so on and so forth. So everybody just looks at a piece of polyester and thinks, well, that shouldn't cost that much money. But the reality, it does. And that's why you're getting all the top players going to your teams and so on and so forth.
But you're right, though, if you split it over 2 years, the £100 shirt is 50 quid a season. Well, you know, so if you think of it like that, you go, well, it's not that bad.
It isn't actually that bad. So, I mean,
but anyway,
you know, at the end of the day, are they going to do it? We don't know. But there are definitely brands and clubs that are kind of steering the ship in that direction. But anyway, let's talk about the fakes. What's your first impression, other than the fact that your liver bird's blind on this one? Yeah,
that was what I pointed out when I came in. I said, have a look. And then the one thing that stands out to me is the fact that the liver bird's blind. So there's if we put that...
Get your Sharpie out.
Yeah, get the Sharpie out. We'll zoom in there at some point, Al, if you can. Yeah, the fact that the liver bird's blind. But, you know, when you first look at it, you go, look at it, but it's until you get it in your hand, that's where...
Yeah, I mean, that would be my first thing. It's like when you passed us this, immediately I felt the fabric and I knew it was fake. Now, don't get me wrong, we have done an episode before and I got caught out by a Brazil kit. I couldn't really tell the difference. It was absolutely superb. But in this case, that fabric is, quite different. It's a lot heavier. It's a lot more coarse. Yes, they've done some of the kind of body map and jacquard, but it's not quite as defined as what it is on the
it's not
on the actual original. But for me, the standout bit is if you look at the piping detail. So this piping detail, actually, we've not said this right as it happens. This is a piping detail, in fairness, but normally piping would have a small cord that would go through it, hence the reason piping. But what this is we would call this an unfilled piping detail. So it's where you basically put the same sort of idea, but you don't put the cord in there.
Right.
If you put the cord in there, what tends to happen over time is there's a little bit of shrinkage between the two. And if the cord is shrinking a lot more than the actual polyester, it will ripple. And that's when it really looks quite horrible. But on this one, it's an unfilled piping. And you can see straight away the workmanship on that is absolutely diabolical. So,
just
I mean, that's
so it's not straight at all.
Yeah. It looks like a doily.
Yeah. It's really poor when you get into the nuts and bolts of it. Now there'll probably be people out there going, yeah, but I don't care. It looks all right.
Yeah,
it'll do.
No, absolutely.
Which is, again,
it's totally fine. I mean, if that's what's, if they're buying a shirt, and like I say, I get it. It's a season wonder. You just want to be representing on the terraces and in the pubs and all the rest of it. But yeah, I can't. There's a part of us which I can't get my head around doing it, but then I can totally get why people want to spend a tenner or 15 quid, because that is going to cost you around about 120, 130 quid.
Spot on, yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of money.
It was,
a real lot of money. But I don't know, it's, I guess I'm just a bit biased because I know, what goes in and around all of these kits. But by and large, from a distance, that's not too bad.
No. So, but like you said, it's, I mean, I look at the sponsor and I can already see the shadows of the gaps. So I already know after a couple of washes that's going to go. Yeah. You can tell. Yeah. It's the applications, that's not the best at all.
No.
But again, it's each to their own, isn't it? Of what people want to do.
Absolutely.
Pros and cons to both, mate.
Absolutely.
But sadly, I just don't see anything changing for a long time.
So what do you guys think? Do you agree with what Jay said about fakes? Do you agree with what I've been saying about fakes? Do you like it? Do you dislike it? Leave us a comment. And don't forget to get in touch with Jay if you want to hear about everything around Liverpool, all the great guests that he gets on board. Then you have to check out Tops of the Cops. Absolutely fantastic episodes that he's got, and I'm sure you'll really be entertained when you tune into that as well. So thanks for tuning in, guys, and if you like what you've seen in this episode, like, subscribe, press those buttons, get involved with us, leave us some messages, and tune in for the next one on the Kit Breakdown. See you soon, guys. How much did you pay for that fake?
15 quid.
It's not bad.
Yeah, 15 quid.
Where's all the stains come from? Have you been wearing
it? Yeah, I wore it to footy and then completely forgot I had it and then was coming here and I was like, I need to get it, and then, yeah, my bad.
Yeah, it's all right.
But I don't give a because I'd got it and then I went and bought this one.
What is it, kebab?
I have no idea. I have no idea. Always.
And I think the fans, there's kind of a mutual respect, I think.
Second favourite team.
Down, yeah, deep down, because I think it's, we've got so much in common. The banter's very much the same. Yeah. I think, and I hope that all of this just kind of blows over quite quickly, because I've got a lot of friends down here, and, I cannot say I've got a soft spot for Liverpool, because I don't. Liverpool.
Which one, Craig? Is it here?
No, it's not, thankfully. Thanks for that, Alex.
Brilliant. Right.
Anyway,
Anything he says now is just irrelevant.
Yeah.
Irrelevant.
That's the one he's going to cut in, isn't he? Anyway.
Brilliant.
Brilliant.